Welcome to Geology 207 Natural Disasters from Illinois State University. My name is Mike Phillips. I'm the instructor, and this is my contact information. The best way to get a hold of me this summer will be via email. I check my email several times a day and should be able to get back to you within less than 24 hours. The goals of this course are to explore a variety of natural disasters. We will talk about earthquakes, floods, volcanoes, hurricanes, and we're going to analyze the role and impact of science on identifying and planning for these natural disasters. What I really want you to get out of this is a greater awareness of the world around you and an understanding of how to assess the various hazards that might be near you or that you might encounter in your life, and find the scientific information that will help you make that assessment. We will be using GENET, ISU's online setup. The main things that you'll be wanting to look at in GENET are, number one, announcements. When I post an announcement, I will email it to your ISU email account. So you should get a copy of it right away. But when you come into GENET, that's one of the things that you'll want to look for. There's a button labeled Resources and Materials. There's a lot of basic information about the course under that toggle. So you'll want to go there, for example, to see what textbook to use. There's a link to a schedule for the whole semester there. So there's a lot of kind of basic information there that you'll need. There's also information there on the term project. So if you want to get started on that early, that will be under Resources and Materials. Each week, there will be a week number that becomes live. It will have questions for the week. So we will have what we call questions for homework and discussion. It will have resources to help you answer those questions. And there will be a Dropbox where you'll put your homework at the end of the week. One of the key aspects of this class is our online asynchronous discussion. So asynchronous means it's not real time, and we'll discuss exactly how that works in a couple of minutes. Underneath the discussions button, you'll find an Ask Mr. Phillips discussion. If you have kind of a general question about the class, that's a good place to put it, because sometimes other students will come in and answer that question even before I get a chance. So you can get a quick answer to some simple questions that way. And then every student in the course has been put into a group, and that will be labeled with a group number. And each week you will be participating in a group discussion. And we'll talk about the requirements for that as well. There is a chat room. We will use the chat room for occasional real-time Q&A sessions with me. It'll essentially be an online office hour, but you can be there and see what questions other people ask as well. So it's a time to kind of clarify things and also see what other people are asking. Very often you can benefit from that. And of course there's an online grade book so that you can keep track of where you are in the course and what your grade is. So speaking of grades, what is graded? Well, we're going to have weekly discussions, as I mentioned. Those are worth 10 points each. It's an 8-week course. There will be 7 weekly discussions beginning with the first week. We will skip 1 week a little after midterm while you work on your midterm projects. Weekly homework, there will be 7 of those. Those are worth 20 points each. So each week you will have 30 points worth of work. That adds up to 210 points, about half of the value point-wise for the class. There are also 2 term projects. You'll notice on this slide there are no exams in the class, but we do have 2 term projects. The term projects are for you to apply what you're learning in class. You will pick a town and a hazard that impacts that town and investigate it. So you'll see how it impacts the town, what its history is, and whether or not the town is prepared to deal with that hazard, or kind of how it's prepared. And you can get to critique that. So we'll get into that in a lot more detail later in the semester, a little after the midterm. But be aware that the term project is coming up. And before you get too worried, the first of the two term projects you can revise and resubmit. So if you misunderstand the requirements and get a low score because of that, you can revise and resubmit. The last term project and the revision of the first one will be due about a week after the course ends. So I give you kind of a cushion there to wrap things up, a little extra time. So how does this work? Well, each week in GENET, the new topic will become live under the heading on the left-hand column, week, and it'll have the week number. There will be questions for homework and discussion, and there will be resources to help you answer those questions. And the resources include a narrated PowerPoint slide like this, a reading assignment in your textbook, and links to information on the internet. By Monday, you should start working on the topic, and we'll talk about what that means in a minute. At the end of the week, on Saturday and Sunday, through the week, from Sunday through the following Saturday, you explore the topic. The group discussion is open. You can use the text and web resources. And on Sunday at the end of the week is when your homework is due. So essentially we go Sunday to Sunday. That's where the overlap occurs. The reason that the new topic doesn't open on Monday is that I realize some people use Sunday to kind of catch up and get started. So that's why we have two topics kind of going on Sunday. So how do you explore a topic? Well, you read the textbook. The textbook is very good. It's been selected because it works well with the way I've structured this class. There will be a narrated PowerPoint to kind of give you a quick introduction to the topic, as we're doing right now. There will be recommended links on the internet. There's a lot of information available on internet to help people deal with natural hazards, and so we'll provide some links to those, most especially to government sources like the U.S. Geological Survey and the Federal Emergency Management Agency and the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration. Those are probably our top three. And then you'll have a group discussion, and the group discussion is pretty cool because what you're going to do is you're going to go into GENET. We have a link in GENET to this discussion group. Students are put in groups of 7, and within your group you're going to have to post on at least 3 different days each week. The idea is we have these questions for homework, but you get to discuss them with other students over the course of the week. So you can bounce ideas off other students. If there's something that's confusing to you, you can ask your group. If there's something that you have squared away, you can provide some information to your group. Maybe you find kind of an interesting website that's very informative. You can post that to your group and see what people say. So there's a lot to do in the group, and it really helps people kind of flesh out what they want their homework answer to be at the end of the week. And your group list will be in GENET, and it's available online as well. So the group discussion is open from Sunday through Saturday. Saturday night it cuts off at about 11 o'clock or midnight. And so you want to finish things by then, and don't be asking questions on Saturday in your group because nobody's going to see them. You'll want to help the group wrap everything up. Sunday, what you will do is submit your homework. Now, some people will do it Friday or Saturday, but the deadline for homework is 11 o'clock Sunday night, And the idea is that you've had the whole week to discuss it with folks in your group, and then you complete your own personal answer to the week's questions and submit them to me on Sunday. So that's basically how the class works. We have the group discussion where you kind of bounce ideas off other people, throw out things you might want to include in your homework answer, and then you wrap that all up and submit it to me by Sunday night. So to skip ahead, a little after midterm, you will have a term project. This is to give you a heads up. It's going to be discussing a natural hazard and how it impacts the area where you live, or an area where you might like to live. So you can do tornadoes in Bloomington, or floods in Downers Grove, or you can do hurricanes in Miami, earthquakes in San Francisco. Some people even do hazards that impact places overseas. Just anything that's kind of interesting to you. We have a structure for the projects. It's all available in GENET right now under that one link, I think it was resources and materials. So you can find the requirements for the term project there. When we get to a little after midterm, we'll have a whole week devoted to that. You can have a discussion with your group if you want. It's for extra credit, but you'll have the whole week to work on it. As a reminder, this is my email if you have any questions. I go kind of quick in these PowerPoints. I try to keep them under 15 minutes. So if GENET's not working for you for some reason, it's not accepting your homework, you can email that to me. And the other function of email is private discussion with me. If there's something that's specific to you, what's my grade, why did you take points off on this, that's definitely an email thing. If it's more on the structure of the class, you can use the Ask Mr. Phillips discussion thread, in GENET in the discussion area. So to kick it off for this week, the first topic questions are these. How will you succeed in this class? And there are some sub-questions you'll see posted in GENET. Unusual for this week is that first question. I would like you to submit your answer on Wednesday. That's just to get you rolling, get you thinking about how this class is going to work. And then for the rest of the week, we want to discuss how are disasters studied. Specifically, how are they studied by scientists? And what are the implications of the 5 fundamental concepts outlined in Chapter 1 of the book? And this really starts to get us rolling on the study of natural hazards and how that impacts people. I mean, that's really why we do it. We consider these processes hazardous because they have an impact on people. And so the author has laid out what he calls 5 fundamental concepts in Chapter 1, and the rest of the book kind of revolves around that. After Chapter 1, we essentially do a hazard a week, and your textbook has chapters on each of these different hazards. So week 1 is to kind of get you rolling, and there is actually another narrated slide presentation on these second 2 questions. How are disasters studied, and the implications of the 5 concepts. So what do you need to do? Well, you need to go to GENET. You probably were there if you're watching this slide presentation. But you need to go to the discussion group. You need to go look at the resources for the week and get rolling. If you have any questions, please email me or post them in the discussion area.